Welcome to Business Line's State of the Economy podcast, where you'll find insight, analysis, and the story behind the numbers.
Hello and welcome to the State of the Economy podcast. I'm Jyoti Datta. Last month, India's largest capsules maker and the world's second largest, ACG, was featured on becoming part of the World Economic Forum's global Lighthouse network. Now, lighthouses are seen as being a beacon of sorts when it comes to adopting advanced technologies to transform manufacturing. And there are about 153 lighthouses across industries in the world. So today we have with us ACG's Managing Director, Karan Singh, to explain to us what this means on an international stage, especially for the pharmaceutical industry that is always under intense scrutiny. So thank you, Karan, for being with us here today.
Hi, Jyoti. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. So last month you were in Davos, to receive this recognition, and which you have described as ACG's moonshot moment. So tell us more. Why is it important for the company and the industry?
So this certificate holds immense significance for both ACG and the pharmaceutical industry as a whole. I think it symbolizes ACG's ambitious pursuit of global leadership and its commitment to setting exceptionally high standards within the industry. By achieving this certification, ACG not only establishes itself as a front runner, but also elevates the standards for the pharmaceutical manufacturing worldwide. This recognition, Jyoti, serves as a testament to our dedication to excellence, I believe distinguishing us as one of the top 3 pharmaceutical companies in India to have actually achieved this award. So, it highlights India's capability to compete and excel on a global scale, and also debunks any doubts about the country's manufacturing prowess. And we've seen enough criticism in the past about the pharma industry in that sense, but I think this really sort of sets the standards for the future. In essence, I believe this certificate it's more than an accolade, and it's truly a representation of ACG's industry leadership and role in shaping the future of the pharmaceutical, shaping the future of pharmaceutical manufacturing worldwide.
Right. So in another discussion, Karan, so on this whole Lighthouse network, one of the consultants had observed that the pharmaceutical industry, they were usually sort of laggards when it comes to adopting technology. And as you mentioned, in India, we do have 2 other companies. We have Dr. Reddy's and Cipla, who have also been certified as lighthouses. So, but generally, what has been your experience? Is the pharmaceutical industry slow to technology?
I believe that's changing quite fast, Jyoti. So there was a time when it did take time for the pharmaceutical industry to adapt and change. And that's largely led due to strict and high level of regulations and compliance that the industry has to go through. The pharmaceutical industry is highly regulated, just as we get highly regulated. So when you adopt change, adopt any kind of new technological transformation, there's a long time that goes into validation and making sure that whatever technology adoption you've done actually is delivering the results expected. At the end, we are in the business of saving lives, right? And whatever products that we produce and the pharmaceutical industry produces gets ingested, and one has to ensure a high level of safety and compliance when it comes to manufacturing these products.
Right. So, tell us about your journey at ACG with, getting this certification that's in. Does it involve a lot of investment and commitment from the management, and right down into your factory and the shop floor? Give us a little insight. I know it's been a journey over months, but give us a little insight into how you'll achieve this.
Sure. It does, in a nutshell, of course, to get the Lighthouse, we started working on this about 5 years ago. And it does involve a lot of effort from ACG's management, as well as all the staff across different facilities, and both in terms of time as well as in actual money that we've invested in scaling up the facilities to get to the global Lighthouse standards. Considering, just to give you some examples, we built an entire software platform for analytics and artificial intelligence deployment across all of ACG's facilities. And the investment itself, right from, I think, 5 years ago, each month, there would be a team that would meet for about, at least from my end, it would be me, the CEO, and the whole top management team would meet for a full day, about 8 hours dedicated, working on different use cases that we were actually going to showcase to the Lighthouse. And those use cases were essentially going to transform, how we produce and how we manufacture products. Then there were cross-functional teams created within the facilities that would be having daily meetings, reviewing, the data that was being generated out of the system. So out of the platform that we had developed. And they were looking at how can we actually use these insights again to drive efficiency, to improve the way that we work, to solve a lot of the challenges that they face on a day-to-day basis, improve quality, improve consistency. So, there was, I think one is the time, there's definitely a huge amount of time effort that's gone into it. And then the second is the actual monetary effort, right? The monetary investment. And over there, we had to connect facilities to the cloud. So we had to not only build a software platform, but we actually had to put sensors across the facility, making machines that were 40 years old, making them smart machines, so that they can actually emit data and tell you what's actually happening in real time while product is being produced. So, there was quite a lot of time and investment that was put into this sort of 5-year journey that we've been on.
So is this across one facility, Karan, or is it across, more facilities, or will this be, a standard that others will be able to replicate?
Right. So this is, we started with one facility. That's where we focus. We've now started scaling it across all facilities. So all of ACG's facilities will be Lighthouses one day. So each one of them have started replicating the same systems and processes, adopting the same software stack platforms, and creating cross-functional teams within those facilities. So that rollout has already begun. Can someone from outside of the industry in the capsule space replicate this? They can, but they have to go through the cycle. You can't avoid going through that process of learning. And that's, and the change management that needs to occur from within. Because people have to change the way that they approach work, and they've got to change the way they think about how they produce product. And I think that's the big shift that needs to take place. And that journey takes 2 to 3 years. So, for us, we worked on this and kept pushing it for about 3 years. But the real pull came after 3 years when the guys actually started seeing the benefits. But it takes time.
Right. So on the, where with people on the shop floor, and when you're talking about AI and all of this, now you have, like you say, sometimes you have 40-year-old machines, or you have people who have a different way of working and bringing it forward into a much more real-time kind of a dynamic environment. So is that also a cumbersome process to reconcile, or did people take to moving to something like this faster?
It generally takes a lot of handholding and convincing, and also leading by example. At the end, what was inspiring for me was the guys on the shop floor. A lot of them are very simple, humble people working on the shop floor, and they're engineers, they're pharmacists, they're chemists, all come from simple backgrounds. For them to come together and deliver something like the Lighthouse and actually transform the facility, and it's like a miracle come true, right? It's watching ordinary people doing extraordinary work. So convincing them initially it did take time because they didn't understand technologies such as artificial intelligence or data analytics, and they've never been and they never worked in that kind of an environment before. But I think when they started to see results and they started to realize benefits of this journey that we went on, I think that's truly where I saw them adopting it and taking it in stride and saying, you know what, let's accelerate the pace. Let's really see, let's push this technology to see how far we can get. And obviously when the WEF, when the World Economic Forum auditors came, they saw that.
That's really nice to hear, because like you alluded to, also the criticism that the industry faces, and very often what one hears is of, the whole cultural thing of people not understanding how important certain processes are. So do you think certifications like this, and with the other two companies, pharmaceutical companies as well, this is going to slowly instill more confidence in, especially given the scrutiny the industry is under?
100%. Jyoti, one of my biggest learnings through this whole process, and I mentioned, I was having meetings with them every month. One of the big benefits, and what used to give me a lot of peace of mind, you cannot make this transformation unless you don't understand your product and you don't understand your process. And when I hear guys on the shop floor, talking to me and teaching me about their learnings and what are the challenges they faced and how they overcame those challenges. Earlier they would tell me that this is the challenge we have, and they'd give me an answer. And usually the answer was something that they were told to do rather than something that they understood themselves, for themselves. But through this learning process, they themselves are looking at data. They themselves are trying different things to see what's working. And the data is giving them a lot of information around what is and what isn't working. So I get a lot of peace of mind, because when I speak to these guys and I look at the depth of knowledge and I look at the level of understanding, it's absolutely fantastic. I know that ACG and the industry is in safe hands when the guys who are on the floor, who are actually running the machines and producing the product, have a very thorough understanding of the manufacturing process.
Right. So, maybe my last question here, but in terms of benefits to, to the company, I mean, people may be looking at this exercise and saying, how does it eventually benefit the company? I mean, you've spoken about quality and, understanding processes. What are some of the other benefits that you could possibly outline, and also maybe from a sustainability standpoint?
So this is moving in the direction of sustainability for sure, because a lot of what we are, I think for us, and WEF has got the next big award, which is the Sustainability Lighthouse, and now that we've come so far, I think it's also stirred a sense of belief across people and associates within the company that, hey, we can now move to the next level, which has become completely sustainable as an organization. Generally for the industry, I mean, ACG has been, and I think there are two parts to this. One is that we've sort of been a little bit of a beacon of light. We, at the end, supply almost every single pharmaceutical industry or company in India, and all the big ones across the globe. Their auditors are continuously visiting our facility and auditing our facility, and for us to showcase to them, what we've been able to do, I think is going to be a tremendous help for the industry to learn from us. And if they'd like to adopt some of these transformational changes, we'd be happy to assist. The third is, I think, achieving the Lighthouse and ACG being one of the largest players in its space, I think it puts us on the global map. I believe that we're going to be global leaders very soon. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of a few years. And I think we are going to be expected to set the standards for the industry that we're in. And I think the Lighthouse is the first testament in that direction of really laying out the standards for the industry and other pharmaceutical companies alike and other capsule producers alike. So, to me, like I said, this award means it means a lot, and I think it really puts ACG on the map and sends the message that we're headed towards global leadership, and India for that matter.
Right. As a pharmaceutical supplier, I think that you would possibly be the only one, really. I think till now we've seen both on the international stage and global, it's been companies, big pharma or the large domestic pharmaceutical companies. But as a supplier into this industry, I think you'd probably be the only one.
Yes, as a supplier to the pharmaceutical industry, we are the only ones to have achieved this award. In terms of global pharma companies, we are amongst the top 5 or top 6 globally to have achieved this. Other than the 2 companies in India, there were 3 companies globally that received. I think there was Johnson and Johnson and 2 others. So we are amongst the top 10 globally. This award is given to a facility and not a company per se. And you can only imagine there are 132 lighthouses globally. We are amongst those 132 facilities globally to have received what they call the Oscars of manufacturing. And within the pharmaceutical industry, we're amongst 1 in 6 facilities to have received this. So it's, in that sense, it's very prestigious, I think, both for India, for ACG, and for the pharmaceutical industry. It's you can only imagine we are probably amongst that 0.001% or even a smaller fraction than that of factories in the world to have achieved such a high level or standard of manufacturing.
I think that's a nice note to end on, and let's hope that more companies are inspired to take their facilities on to get the Oscars of manufacturing, as you put it. Yeah, just in time. So thank you so much for your time and insight, Karan, from the Business Line team and myself. Thank you once again.
It was wonderful to speak to you.